Hey, this is Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver at caregiverdave.com, coming to you on the number one rated caregiver podcast on the internet, along with my lovely co-host, best-selling author and former mayor of Grover Beach, California, Debbie Peterson. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Dave.
And just a reminder to like and subscribe. This show, it helps other caregivers who are struggling, and it doesn't take much for us to just click a couple of buttons. And we do have an especially exciting show planned for you today. Today's guest is Melissa Jean Rod, author of The Daddy Files, who spent 4 years caregiving for her mother-in-law through dementia while wrestling with grief, identity, and faith. Her story is a powerful reminder that caregivers matter too, and healing is possible, even in the middle of loss. So, Melissa, so great to have you on the Caregiver Dave show.
It's lovely to be here. I'm so excited.
Us too. So let's get right into these questions that caregivers have on their mind. Let's talk about your caregiving journey. You spent 4 years caring for your mother-in-law through dementia. What was that experience really like day to day, especially emotionally? Because we actually did that too with my mother and with Charlene's mother. So go ahead. Let's hear your experience.
It was definitely interesting. We went from everything being what we thought was hunky-dory, and she was doing great. She was 90 years old, driving, dancing, traveling, doing her own thing, living on her own, to one day she was dizzy and ended up in the hospital. And this is during COVID. And so nobody could go in with her. And when she was released, it was night and day different. She was a totally different woman. So it was very jarring in that respect.
Did she get the vaccine, by the way?
She eventually did, yes.
Eventually, okay.
But not before this. It was, because this was...
Did they find out what the headache was or what caused it? Or
I think it was actually the beginning of the dementia. It just hadn't been... If she had been told before that she had it, she didn't tell anybody.
I see. Yeah,
is my theory. Because it was in the paperwork. Yes, because it was in the paperwork when she was released from the hospital, but none of us knew. So for the first month or so, she wouldn't even get out of bed. And so like I said, she went from driving and dancing and traveling to being bedridden, basically.
That's
and
very
we had
common.
we had to have home health come in and take care of her. And at first, we didn't do it ourselves for the first couple of months. We were caught flat-footed, basically. Then we slowly decided, no, we're going to do this ourselves. So it was actually my husband, myself, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and one of my daughters. And we did it in rotating shifts.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, exactly. And we kept her at her house so that things stayed the same for her.
Right.
She was in her environment with all of her things around. And then we came and went.
How far of a trip was that for you guys?
For us, it wasn't so bad. It was only about 30 minutes. So it's just on the other side of town, basically, for us. My sister-in-law had the longest drive. She had an hour drive.
That's not too bad.
No, it wasn't bad. And we did it in 24-hour long shifts. So it was definitely an adjustment for all of us.
Well, good for you guys for stepping up to the bat like that. A lot of people don't do that. And so kudos to you guys. Yeah. And I know you made it better for your mother.
Well, this is going to sound really crazy, but I kind of enjoyed it. And I think I'm the only one who did.
And what did you enjoy about it, Dorothy?
Really, I got to know my mother-in-law in a way that I had never known her, because we weren't close beforehand, but suddenly I'm spending time with her, and she and I would sit and play cards. We played Kings in the Corner for hours, and while we played, she would talk to me. And she was, because you know the disease and how it loses, well, she could remember things from early. So she was telling me about growing up and how she picked cotton when she was a small child with her siblings and her parents. And she graduated from high school when she was 15, 16, and went to work at a bank. Yeah. So, and she talked about how she met my husband's father and their courtship. And she has over 200 love letters he wrote her before they
Mm.
got married and while he was off at war.
Did she
And
let
so
you
it was
read
just,
them?
no, but I do have them now, but I still haven't read them.
That
I'm like, I did read a
was
couple.
good for her. They like to tell stories. They like to talk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not be lonely.
Right. And I really enjoyed it. And it was really neat.
Well, of course
So
you did.
that
And
aspect of
she
it, I
enjoyed it even
enjoyed.
more.
Yeah, she did. And I heard the same stories
Yeah.
500 million times.
Debbie, you got anything?
I'm wondering, when you wrote to us, you said that there are some things that no one tells you about watching someone you love disappear in pieces rather than all at once. What
Mm.
would you say that is?
Watching them lose themselves and lose their
Mm.
memories. One of the first things that she lost was her memory of my husband's father, who she had been married to for over 50 years.
Mm.
She didn't remember him. And and she didn't remember her second husband, of course, who had been more recent. But
Yeah.
yeah, then watching her lose and forget things and then try to cover. And
Was she
I love
aware
my,
of her
yeah,
problem?
yeah, she
That's,
was,
so you
And
saw
what
her
which
trying
was
to hide it or cover for it.
right. Yes.
what kinds of things did you see in trying to cover?
Well, sadly, as much as I love my husband, he thought he was helping her and he would try to quiz her and try to, yeah, exactly. And she would say, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I know that." But face that she had no clue what he was talking about,
Mm.
but she
Yeah.
would go along with whatever he said.
My mother-in-law was the same way. And then it got to the point where she was really delusional. Things she'd forget where she put things, and she would accuse us of stealing them. And then when she would
Yes.
find them, she would accuse us of putting them back, and it was really
Of
stressful.
hiding it from her.
Same thing.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
she'd be
Experienced
calling the
that too.
police every day. Someone broke in and did this, and.
Yeah. My daughter that helped take care of her, she would say she was a stranger. She didn't know who she was.
Mm.
And that who was she? She had broke into the house and would threaten to call the police on her. And it's like, no, no, no. And Alyssa would tell her,
Bringing
she
back
goes,
terrible
no.
memories.
She would say, no, Grandma, I'm Chuck's daughter. Remember? And she was, no.
How
So,
sad.
yeah.
So sad.
Yeah, it is.
When my wife was in a nursing home because she broke her leg, and I says, "You're not going to put dementia patients in this nursing home." "Oh, no, no, we don't allow that." Well, sure enough, one got through, and they says, "Well, they lied to us." And waking up in the middle of the night. Actually, they never sleep. There's help, help all night long. My wife can't
Yes.
sleep. Get me out of here. And it's just so sad. I went in to try to talk to them, and they just say, "I don't belong here. I'm working here.
Oh,
It just every kind of crazy thing is in their head. Why they're just tortured. And I just think it's so
yes.
sad.
Hmm.
Yeah. My mother-in-law, we finally reached the stage that we exceeded our capability of caring
Mm.
for her. And so a year ago, we put her in a memory care facility.
Was that hard?
And yes, it was.
Hard on you?
It
Hard on
felt
her? Both?
hard on us, not hard on her. We did it at the
Oh,
perfect time because
you're lucky.
when we took
Usually
her,
they're very stubborn, but she
yes,
must have been to the
exactly.
point where she wouldn't even know,
Exactly. That's
didn't
where she
recognize
was.
her
And
surroundings. Yeah.
no, she didn't recognize any of us at that point. She didn't know where she was or who
Oh,
she didn't even know her name at that point. And so to leave her, for me, it felt like I was abandoning her to strangers.
mm,
And so I felt bad in that regard, but I knew that they were better equipped
yeah.
to take care of her at that stage than I was because I mean, we would be driving down the road with her and she'd try to open the door and get out because she didn't know who we were. We were strangers. And
Wow.
so she was a danger to herself at that
Sure.
point too. So,
Well, I'm curious about burnout, and I can't commend you enough for the four of you doing what you did for so long. But are there signs, or your body waves to you and tells you? How do you know when you're perhaps getting to that stage?
irritability, exhaustion, frustration, anger at yourself because you feel hopeless and helpless because you can't help them anymore and you want to take care. They're an adult. They're your parent that you wanted to, that has taken care of you when you were little and as you were growing up. And it feels bad that you have to tell them no, that you have to reprimand them sometimes because they're doing something dangerous.
Yeah. The roles have reversed.
Yes, exactly. And so it's so frustrating and you feel bad that you're having to do this to them, but it's for their safety and their care. But yeah. And so you beat yourself up about it, or at least I did.
Guilt.
Yeah, exactly. Guilt.
So how do you get over the guilt? Are you over the guilt?
Yeah, it took a little bit. I finally had to realize that even though I felt guilty, she wouldn't want me to feel guilty because I was doing the best I could for her. And I loved her, still love her. And she would do it for her mom if the roles were reversed.
And
So,
you and your kids, that's a good perspective,
Yeah.
Would I want
exactly.
my kids to be doing this for me? You have thought about that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, my kids and I have talked about it. Some of them tease me and tell me that they're going to put me in the first nursing home they can.
That's what,
And then a
that's
couple
what
of
my
them,
kids say about me.
and then a couple of them,
I said,
one of
well,
my
put it
daughters,
in Malibu. It says, you won't know where you are. We'll just tell you you're in Malibu.
that's what mine tell me too. And I was like, no. But one of my daughters-in-law, she's wonderful and she's a
I have
nurse.
long-term
She's
care.
like,
I don't know if you do.
yeah.
Oh, do you have
But,
long-term care insurance?
yeah.
Good for
I
you.
do too.
Yeah.
Wow, 3 smart people. We're the minority. Most people don't even know what it
Don't think
is.
about it. Yeah. Well,
What
I
about
had never thought
identity
about it.
loss? So you had several years where your identity was caregiver for a quarter of your time. Uh, did you lose track of yourself a little bit?
A little bit. You feel like, well, it's kind of like, again, when you're a young mom, because your focus is on your children. Well, now your focus is on your parent who is like a child.
Yeah.
And it's
And
your
they're your
total
child.
focus. Yeah, exactly. You're the child, but they're acting like a child. And so you do lose your identity in a way because you're so focused on them that it's like, oh, I need to wait to do whatever I wanted to do because I need to take care of them. So push me to the back. I can wait. I can do that later. And later doesn't come necessarily as soon as you want or need it to. Sometimes you have to make that time or you do totally lose yourself.
That makes me think it reframing all of that, because you did that a bit at the beginning and said all the good things about it, but it's as if your identity becomes caregiver. You don't lose your identity, but your identity changes.
That's a good point. Yes. You lose who you think you are.
Who you were before you suddenly got tossed into this new identity.
New position there.
How did you adjust to that transition? Some people get depressed and they don't know what to do anymore with themselves,
I think I was lucky in respect because I was a stay-at-home mom and I was still in that stage because I had teenagers. So it wasn't that much of a transition.
Yeah.
I just incorporated
another kid.
Her. It was another kid in my life. just an older, bigger one.
The nest isn't empty yet.
You said that you took your kids along with you sometimes. Did your kids participate?
Yeah. And they were teenagers. And so sometimes if I needed to do something, my teenage daughter would come hang out with her while I ran to the doctor or whatever. And so, yeah, it was definitely helpful. And it gave them a unique perspective as well that most teenagers don't get.
They had a good relationship with her before her disease, so they remember who she was.
They do remember who she was. I love my mother-in-law. She was not a very affectionate, grandmotherly person. So, ironically enough, while we were taking care of her, she became more affectionate at first. It was towards the end that she became angry. But for the first couple of years, it was really special in that the kids got to bond with her a little bit better than they ever had. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm sure you are glad it's all over, but you cherish it and you had great experience from it. Let's talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness. Who do we need to forgive in a situation like this? If somebody needs to forgive somebody, right?
I know it was a case of being angry at dementia, which sounds weird because it stole her from us. And being angry at myself sometimes because I was so frustrated because I couldn't be sometimes what she needed. Because like a parent, you lose I would get frustrated at the same story or having to find the same thing again and again and having to remind myself that she's not doing it on purpose. She's as upset as I am and she's as frustrated as I am sometimes. And yeah, so that was
good lessons to learn of patience. Patience is never fun or easy to learn.
Not easy.
And God makes sure that we have things. Don't ever pray for patience, by the way.
No,
because He'll give us trials
to learn it.
So how does faith play a part in all of this? I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. He's living in my heart. And gosh, if it wasn't for that, I don't know how I could have done it. And I don't know how anybody can do it who doesn't have faith. Where's your faith?
I totally agree. Totally agree. I give everything to God all the time. I wouldn't be where I am without Him. I would be, if it wasn't for God and what He teaches in the Bible and what I've learned, I could very easily be an angry, bitter person. But I don't want to be that person. I want to be like Jesus. And so I have to give it to Him and know that He is much wiser than I am. And He does everything for my good eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I might not like the season right this second, but I'm learning something and it's going to help somebody else even down the road.
Did you ever ask Him why this is happening? Why me? And then you realize that there's a book of Job with his own story, and then we're grateful that we're not Job.
Really? No, actually, I have never asked why me. Not that I remember. Definitely not in this situation. But there have been different things that I've gone through, and I really haven't. And it's funny you mentioned the book of Job, because I had a year that I compared my life to the book of Job, because every month there was at least one horrifically big, horrible thing. And I call that, it was 2009, and that was my year of Job.
Wow.
Started with my youngest, who was 2 at the time, in Texas Children's Hospital. We thought he had leukemia.
My.
4 months later, my mom was diagnosed with it. A couple months later, my aunts came back. My grandfather died in that year. My grandmother died in that year. I mean, it was a
Wow.
horrible year. That was my year of Job. So I guess after that, I never asked God why. It's like, what do you want me to learn? How do you want me to use this?
Yeah.
How can I use this to help somebody else? Is what I try to go with.
That kind of segues a little bit into your writing, which I'm curious about too, because we met you because you're an author, but you're an author with some caregiving experience. Can you tell us a little bit about your book and how that may have played into things for you?
Sure. And actually, I was writing my book while taking care of my mother-in-law. So some nights when it was my turn to take care of her, I would take all my laptop and all my stuff and work all night while she was sleeping. So my book, The Daddy Files, is about me growing up without my birth father, finding him when I was 21. He died 10 years later. And then when I was 45, God showed me that he wasn't my birth father. It was actually somebody else. And yeah. And when I asked my mom, she doubled down on it and said I'd been switched at birth instead of admitting that she had lied initially. So I had to play detective and to find him.
Did you find your real father?
I did. Unfortunately, he was already deceased, but I've gotten to know his sister and his cousins, and they are amazing. So it's been a wonderful thing.
Did they give you any details you were looking for?
They did. And I got all the medical questions answered that I wanted. I
Is
found
that a
out
good
that
thing?
that's a good thing. I found out that I look like my aunt, like my birth father. My youngest son is the walking, spitting image of my uncle, his younger brother, who died in Vietnam. And it just, and so many of my characteristics and like the way I talk and the hesitations in my speech pattern, I can mimic voices, accents. And he did that. My father did that. And so, yeah, it's really cool.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's a heartwarming story. So you had lots of positive experiences through that journey.
Yeah, I did. And actually, on the note of God, when I was searching for him before I found him, God actually allowed me to meet him. Now, remember, I said he was dead. I had a dream one night where I met my father and his brother, both deceased, in a small white room. And the next morning, it was like, okay, God, whatever happens, happens. You know who he is and where he is, and I'll meet him one day. And then 2 weeks later, I found out who it was. And it's like, I'd met him. So.
And you actually saw what he looked like in your dream?
Yeah, I did.
And it was accurate?
And it was accurate.
That's the God dream, all right.
It was. When I met in the dream, he and his brother, they welcomed me, hugged me, told me they loved me, all of this, told me I looked like their sister. And when I met her, I was telling her about the dream. She pulled out pictures. And when she showed me their younger brother first, I was like, that's the younger guy in my dream. And so she pulled out pictures of my father. And I was like, yeah, he had a beard and mustache in the dream. She goes, no, he never really had a beard. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, oh, wait. She found 2 pictures of him with a beard. And as soon as she showed me, I'm like, that's him. That was the man in the dream. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when a caregiving session ends, what does hope actually look like? And how can caregivers begin healing without guilt?
When it ends?
Yeah, life after caregiving.
Yeah, there's a relief in a sense, but there's also a mourning because suddenly
grief.
You don't, yeah, it's a grief in a way, I think. because suddenly you don't have that big portion of your life revolving around this other person. And so you have to restructure your life and find a new purpose or a new direction. And sometimes that's when you find yourself again.
Wow. Well, I can't believe how fast our time has gone today. Thanks so much for coming on. How can
Thank
our
you for having
listeners
me.
get a hold of you?
Well, my website is one, which is super easy. It's melissajeanrod.com, or Facebook, also Melissa Jean Rod, or Instagram, again, Melissa Jean Rod.
Simple.
Yep.
And your book is available wherever books are sold, right?
Well, I wish. Pretty much.
How do we get your book?
Definitely on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can get it through my website if you want an autographed copy.
All right.
So,
Debbie, how can people find out how Mayor Debbie's life is going?
Well, you just said it, Dave, mayordebbie.com, or you can find my books under Debbie Peterson Integrity 101 on Amazon.
Great. And I'm at caregiverdave.com. And remember, all our live shows become recorded pod and video casts on all your favorite platforms. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in every Wednesday, making us the #1 caregiver podcast on the internet. And thank you, Debbie, and my guest who did a great show today, and I'm very grateful. Just want to say until next time, same channel. May God richly bless you all. Bye-bye. Dave Nasani, the Caregiver's Caregiver, has just released his 6th book entitled It's My Life Too, Thrive to Stay Alive as a Caregiver. It was specifically written for caregivers who know they should be putting their needs first, but just don't know how. Dave is the sole caregiver to his wife, Charlene, since 1996. He knows firsthand what caregivers are going through because he is one. He now speaks all across the country, offering caregivers his amazing caregiver support package. Even the airlines tell us that in the event of an emergency, to put your oxygen mask on first before you help your child with their mask. They know that those who don't heed their advice often black out, thus becoming unable to help either themselves or their child. And caregivers are exactly the same way. It's My Life Too, Thrive and Stay Alive as a Caregiver will help caregivers who are neglecting their sleep, diet, and social life and learn to put their needs first. Pick up your copy today or buy one for your special caregiver. On sale everywhere and at caregiverdave.com.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing.